Hello everyone, this is Dan, and I'm here to talk about the Eastern One Piece ban list that was just announced. And it is effective 9/1 with the release of OPO 9. So let's just talk about some cards. So, this time, two cards banned. Starter Deck 10, Trafalgar Law, Red Purple Law, and OPO 3, Annie's Lobby Stage. Again, these are banned in the East, effective 9/1. Currently, we have no word on the West yet. But if the prior ban list announcement with Sakazuki, Reject, and Great Eruption are any kind of harbinger, then you can expect in the West that these cards will be banned as of OP09 release as well, meaning that we will have an entire format of Black Maria, Red Purple Law to play through. That's a different discussion for a different time, but, say what you want about it. Also, similarly to the Sakazuki ban list announcement from earlier this year, we're getting a new promo law that is a quote unquote errata of the law leader that we are losing. So this one says, main, on your turn, Dawn -3, put one of your characters with a power of 3,000 or more at the bottom of your deck, up to one, and place up to one card with Heart Pirates cost 4 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. This translation isn't fantastic, but essentially it's a mega nerfed version of the starter deck 10 leader because you're bottom decking your own character instead of one of your opponent's characters, and then you are restricted to only Heart Pirates. And I had to go and look because the super type or the subtype or whatever you want to call this for this leader is Heart Pirates, and I couldn't believe it because I was like, wasn't Starter Deck 10 Law also Supernovas too? Nope, just Heart Pirates. So I don't know. That feels weird, but yes, don't even try. This leader sucks. It's like it's worse than the Sakazuki leader. Like the Sakazuki leader was at least like you could see it. This there's just no playable Heart Pirates. Like there's Beppo that's fine. Like there's a bunch of Beppos that are fine. There's like the 3-cost law that like has to attack to search, and then there's Shachi Penguin, and then there's Jean Bart, and it's like these cards all suck. There's like I'm sure somebody will come up with something, and somebody will top a locals with it, and then be like, "This is the greatest deck ever," and no, we're good. So let's talk about it. Why Law Leader? All right. So first and foremost, it's mainly because everybody hates it. Uh, and the reason why everyone hates it are really 3 reasons. One, it's generically good. Being able to bottom deck a character with 3,000 power or less, and then playing a 4-cost or lower character, really strong. It, in turn, limits design space for red and purple characters. For instance, we just got a new red-haired pirates card that is essentially a 12th Gordon, would be a 12th Gordon, and people were already like, "There's just no way that Red Purple Law can survive this. Like, there's just no way this card can continue to exist so long as like it can just like free like one Dawn bottom deck any 6K power, or like 2 Dawn bottom deck any 9K power character, ridiculously strong." And then being able to play one 4-cost or lower character from your hand. I mean, look at all the good 4-cost or lower characters we've gotten in the last few sets. Reiju, Kid Killer, upcoming, we're going to have the Charlotte Pudding 3-cost. Black Maria, which in and of itself is a problem with the deck. But you look at all that, and you're just like, man, these are cards that are definitely not designed for the deck, but because the effect is so generic, and because it just says play a 4-cost or lower, and there's no restriction, and all of those cards are not restricted in any way, shape, or form, here we are with a leader that can just kind of play, red, purple, good stuff, like low cost red, purple, good stuff, and be one of the most successful decks in the format. And then finally, Metashare and OPO8. This comes from Noah Nian. You can follow them on Twitter and YouTube. Their socials are in the middle of the graph or the chart. So thank you for this data. This is as of 7/27. So if you look at it, top 16s from any CS or GAO, Red Purple Law is more than double of CP0 Lucci, which means that it is just far and away the strongest deck, or at least like the most played deck in the format, mainly likely due to its vast strength. And then if you look at the wins, 13 wins over the next highest, which is 6, which again, over 50%. The deck has too much of a meta share. And when you have too much of a meta share like this, when all of your tops, when most of your tops are just crazy, where it's just predominantly like, you know, ignore the Indonesia one because there's no red purple law and doesn't fit my argument here. Obviously, that's a joke. Don't ignore it. But 3 red purple law, 3 red purple law, 1 red purple law, 3, 4, 4, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1, 3, 3, 1. Oh, this is 4. 1, 4, 2, 2. So like when a majority of your top 4s are made up of red purple law, is that due to meta share? Is that due to deck power? Is that due to player skill? A lot of both, of all three, but obviously like there's something that just needed to happen to where these needed to get curbed. So with that, as much as I hate leader bans, I at least understand it, because going back to the previous slide where it limits design space, it limits design space and then limits deck building space for other decks. That's something I forgot to put in here too. You really have to think about what characters of 3,000 power or less you're playing at any point in any time. If you play a 3,000 power character for no reason, like it just kind of gets bottom decked. So maybe this opens back up deck building space to where the low cost blockers with low power fly back in, but we'll talk about it. So why Enni's Lobby? Generally, Enni's Lobby, strong card. Just being able to give -2 for free to any character repeatably without any kind of good stage removal in the game right now, pretty good. Like I said, it enables efficient, repeatable removal for like low Dawn investment. If you get this in your opening hand as a Lucci player, you're just like, cool, I'll slam this on 2 because I'm not really doing anything on 2. Like I could play Spandom. Spandom? Yeah, I could play Spandom and search, or I could get this out for free and then not have to worry about, anything else for the rest of the game. Like I can just free reduce something by 2 for the rest of the game. And really it's by 3 because you have your own leader ability. So really like anything of any kind of cost, like for instance, in a red purple law matchup and you're playing Lucci, if they go like, all right, here's a 4 cost, and you go, okay, stage reduced by 2, leader swing reduced by 1, and then like my own Lucci, like my own 4 cost Lucci to remove it. What you've only spent 4 Dawn to play out a 6K in reality. Like that's just really strong. So I think they wanted to curb the power of Lucci. I don't think this kills Lucci by any means. I've seen stageless builds have some decent success over here in the West in OPO 7. So I'm sure those can be translated to OPO 9. But considering the fact that this is the only card really hit from Lucci, and the removal suite is still very strong, and Ice Age still exists, I just expect like the stages to get replaced with Ice Ages, really. So who are the winners from this? Number 1, biggest winner, Reiju. Vinsmoke Reiju was pushed out of the meta by Red Purple Law just existing, because a lot of Reiju's effects require the baby's effects require you to be at lower Dawn, I believe. I don't remember the exact. I hated playing this deck, so I didn't learn any of it. But a lot of the effects required you to be at lower dawn than your opponent, and Red Purple Law could just be at lower dawn than you the entire game, and therefore you have to play a fair game plan, and your fair game plan is very bad against Red Purple Law. So with it being Red Purple Law, the most popular deck in the format, Reiju kind of gets pushed out. That's why we're seeing Reiju come back in OPO7, is that people are not playing Red Purple Law as much over in the West. So because of that, people go, oh, I can just play Reiju and not really get punished for it. Next is Bonnie. One of Bonnie's worst matchups was Red Purple Law because unless you see the 8-drop kid, and even then, if they have the double, Gordon Raise Max, you're just losing that kid in the first place. But unless you had that kid, the 8-drop kid, you really couldn't hold up to the pressure of all of their swings because they just go minimum swings and then build a board. And then you rest a character and you swing into their characters, and if they defend, well, then you're kind of screwed. But like if they just get a board of like 5 characters, it's like, who cares? They have 5 swings still versus your however many cards in hand. So with Red Purple Law going away, it makes your deck building decisions a little bit easier. And you can probably cut down on the kids, although I doubt it. Kid is still a very strong card. Having essentially an 8K leader is always going to be very strong. And also, I feel like the deck had a negative matchup into Lucci, although I can't really say for sure. It had a matchup into Lucci, I'm going to say. Really, you needed to find your Basil Hawkins to be able to really compete in that matchup. But now with Ennie's Lobby gone, the deck and therefore Lucci having less repeatable cost reduction. Now you can play your Bonnie deck again and just be like, all right, good luck, opponent, because your reduction is way less consistent and it requires more Dawn investment, and now maybe things that wouldn't have survived in the matchup now do survive. And I'm sure like playing with your Hawkins is still going to be like the main thing, but like the big thing was like keeping your Cavendishes around. And on 5 Dawn, you just go Cavendish, and then on your Lucci opponent's 6 Dawn turn, they go, okay, leader swing, Ennie's Lobby, Kaku, and you're just like, well, cool. There goes my Cavendish that was gonna really help me win the game. So similar lines to that, where now I think Bonnie is gonna rise back up in stock. And then obviously the to me like the biggest individual card winner that is not a leader, Gecko Moria, because this guy has skated the ban list again. No, not everyone. That's being hyperbolic. But there's a loud subsect of the community that says this is one of the most broken cards in the game. And for the combos that it can enable in Black Yellow Luffy, essentially making a 20 Dawn turn, or like an 18 Dawn turn, where you get a 9K and either 2 6Ks or 2 7Ks with Rush, and a 9,000 power leader. Or like in Lucci, where it just enables like heavy removal turns where, you just go this and then pick up, Rebecca Spandine Lucci and a reducer. And you have a full board from one character being played. And you've in theory, removed 2 of your opponent's things on the board. Like, that's just ridiculously strong. So this skating the ban, I don't think it was surprising, considering the fact that it was going to be reprinted in Premium Booster Collection 1. What is that? What is like One Piece the Best, I think is what it's called. Like it was getting a reprint in that plus a new alternate art. If going back here, neither of these cards received a printing in One Piece the Best. So obviously, like there was likely some financial incentive behind it to not want people to pull, Gecko Morias that they can't even play anymore. So I don't know. I'm not saying like the ban list was only made with that in mind, but unless black decks like truly rise up to a point where they're unstoppable, and in OP09 the new black deck is going to be Blackbeard, and he shuts off on play effects, I believe. So that means that Gecko Moria isn't even a card you would play in the deck. You know, that means just like Black Yellow Luffy exists, and like Lucci exists, and like potentially other black decks too, like Smoker. I don't know. Maybe Smoker is a thing without Red Purple Law. I don't know, but I I think that Gecko Moria character is on notice right now, and we'll see after One Piece of the Best kind of goes out of print what happens, because I don't think this card is long for this world, because it's another one of those characters and cards, like I said with Red Purple Law, that kind of limits design space for less than 4 cost characters. And I think that's overall a net negative, because when you can get so much value off of an 8 Dawn play in only a certain color, it makes people kind of lose their mind. And maybe that's just people being salty. Maybe people just need to learn to deal with it. But yeah, this is still the strongest, like one of the top 5 strongest cards in the game, maybe even the strongest. And it not even getting consideration, seemingly, likely due to financial consideration, is a choice. So what do you think? Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with only Red Purple Law and Andy's Lobby getting banned? Do you think there should have been more stuff? Do you think neither of those cards should have been banned? Do you think, I don't know, what do you think the winners and losers of the ban list are? Let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And stick around for the Stacking Triggers podcast episode. I think it should be out already as you're watching this video, so go check that out. And goodbye.